When we have really big or really small numbers, we can use something called standard form as an easier way to write them. So here I've got the average distance to the sun, which is 149.6 billion meters. And I'm going to write that in standard form. Standard form is a number between 1 and 10. So a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of something. So with 149.6 billion meters, my number between 1 and 10 is going to be 1.496. So I can write 1.496 times 10 to the power of something. And the question is, how many times do I multiply 1.496 by 10 to get 149.6 billion? So if I multiply it by 10 once, I'll get 14.96. Twice, 149.6. 3 times for 1,496, and so on. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times. So instead of writing out the whole number, I can write 1.496 times 10 to the power of 11. And that is in standard form. How about the radius of an electron? So I'm going to have a number between 1 and 10, which is going to be 2.818. It's going to be times 10 to a power. But if I've got 2.818, I actually want to divide it by 10 a number of times to get to my number. In standard form, we don't write divide by 10. We always write times by 10. And if we're dividing, we use a negative power. Because if you have 3 to the power of negative 2, that is the same as 1 over 3 squared. So a negative power, in effect, makes it a division. So how many times do I want to divide 2.818 by 10 to get my number? So I've got 2.818 divided by 10 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. So I can say the radius of an electron is 2.818 times 10 to the power of minus 15 meters. Okay, so let's look at writing numbers in standard form. So these numbers are a bit smaller, so it should be a bit easier. So with 27,000, I want a number between 1 and 10, which is going to be 2.7 times 10 to the power of something. How many times do I multiply 2.7 by 10 to get 27,000? 1, 2, 3, 4 times. How about 315,000? So I need a number between 1 and 10, which is 3.15 this time, times 10 to the power of what? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 3.15 times 10 5 times is the same as 315,000. How about 0.004? Number between 1 and 10, that's 4, times 10 to the power. I actually want to divide by 10, so I'm going to use a negative power. And how many times do I have to divide 4 by 10 to get 0.004? And that's 3 times. And finally, 0.00068. So number between 1 and 10 is 6.8 times 10. I want to divide by 10, so I'm going to have a negative power. And how many times do I divide by 10? That will be 4. There's a slight trick here. So if you count the number of zeros, including the one before the decimal place, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 10 to the power of minus 4. 1, 2, 3 times 10 to the power of minus 3. That works for negative powers. Okay, questions for you to try. So pause the video, give them a go, and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so the first one, we've got 2.5 million, and that is 2.5 times 10 to the power of 6. A million is always times 10 to the power of 6. And we've got 86,100. So the number between 1 and 10, 8.61. And that's times 10 to the power of 4. 0.023. That's going to be 2.3. Between 1 and 10, 2.3 times 10 to the power of, we want to divide it by 10. So it's a negative power. And it's 2 times 2.3 divided by 10 twice equals 0.023. And 0.000097, a number between 1 and 10, 9.7 times 10 to the power of, it's going to be a negative power. How many times do I divide 9.7 by 10 to get 0.000097? And that will be 5. Okay, this time we're going to do it the other way round. So we're going to convert numbers in standard form back to ordinary numbers. So the first one, I've got 3.2 times 10 to the power of 3. So 3.2 times 10 times 10 times 10. 3.2 times 10 is 32, times 10 again, 320, and a third time, 3,200. Times 10 to the power of 3 is always thousands. It's always thousands. 8.7 times 10 to the power of 6. So times 10 once is 87. Twice, 870. 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 8,700,000. And the power of 6 is always millions. So the next one, 4.13 times 10 to the power of negative 4. So 4.13 divided by 10 4 times, because it's a negative power, divided by 10 4 times. So once is 0.413, twice 0.0413, 3 times 0.00413, and 4 times 0.000413. So with a negative power, the number of zeros, including the one before the decimal place, is the same as the power. So 4 zeros, power of negative 4. So the same thing with the power of negative 6. 9.6 times 10 to the power of negative 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 9 6. So 9.6 divided by 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, 4 questions for you to try. Pause the video, give them a go, and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, 5.1 times 10 to the power of 5. So times 10 once is 51. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 510,000. 4.9 times 10 to the power of 7. So times 10 once be 49. And then 6 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 49 million. 3.7 times 10 to the power of minus 5. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros, a 3 and a 7. And we can check that. So 3.7 divided by 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And finally, 8.25 times 10 to the power of negative 7. So 8.25 divided by 10, 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 2, 5. And again, let's check it. So 8.25 divided by 10 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Okay, in this question, we're going to look at adding numbers in standard form. So we've got 3.2 times 10 to the power of 5 plus 8.7 times 10 to the power of 6. I can't add these numbers together straight away. I can't look at adding 3.2 and 8.7 because they're different things. So 3.2 times 10 to the 5 times 10 to the 5 is hundred thousands. So I've got 3.2 hundred thousands, and 8.7 times 10 to the 6 is 8.7 millions. I can't add hundred thousands to millions. I can only add hundred thousands to hundred thousands, or I can add millions to millions. So one way of answering this is to change them into ordinary numbers and then add them together. So I've got 3.2 times 10 to the power of 5. So 3.2 times 10 once is 32. 2, 3, 4, 5 times, so 320,000. 8.7 times 10 to the 6. 8.7 times 10 once is 87. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So 8.7 million. So now I can add these up by lining up in columns the two numbers. So I can add the hundred thousands to the hundred thousands, the 10,000s to the 10,000s, and so on. So I've got 8.7 million, and I've got 320,000. So I can add these up. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 10,000s, 0 plus 2 is 2. 100,000, 7 plus 3 is 10. So I'll put 0 there, carry 1 over into the millions, and 8 plus 1 is 9. So I've got my answer of 9.02 million, and I can write this in standard form. So it's 9.02 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Okay, there's a question for you to try, so pause the video, give it a go, and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so we'll write them as ordinary numbers, so 5.8 times 10, 7 times. So once to 58, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 9.4 times 10, 6 times. Once to 94, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So let's line them up. So I've got 58 million, 58 and 6 zeros. And then I've got 5 zeros for my other number. So I'll line them up. And then 94. So let's add them together. So all the zeros plus zeros is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. 8 plus 9 is 17. So carry over the 1. And 5 plus 1 is 6. So I've got 6740000. And if I write that in standard form, I want a number between 1 and 10, which is 6.74 times 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Now we're going to look at multiplying numbers in standard form. So work out the value of 3 times 10 to the power of 4 times 4 times 10 to the power of 6. This is very, very similar to an indices question. So imagine we've got 3x to the power of 4 multiplied by 4x to the power of 6. So what we do here is we multiply the two numbers together and multiply the things of the same base together. So I'd have 3 times 4 is 12, and x to the power of 4 times x to the power of 6. 4 x's times together, times by another 6 x's. When we multiply, we add the powers. So I have 12x to the power of 10. So standard form is the same thing. So I can do 3 times 4. I can times the two numbers together, which is 12. And then I can times the two things with the same base together. So 10 to the power of 4 times 10 to the power of 6 is 10 to the power of 10. So I've got 12 times 10 to the power of 10. Now, it's correct as a number, but it is not in standard form. Standard form has got to be a number between 1 and 10, and 12 is too big. So we need to make it between 1 and 10 to give our answer in standard form. So what we can do is we can change 12 into 1.2 times 10. So 12 is the same as 1.2 times 10, and that is times 10 to the power of 10 still. So I've changed 12 into 1.2 times 10. So it's still times 10 to the power of 10. And that gives me 1.2 times 10 times 10 to the power of 10. 10 times 10 to the power of 10 is 10 times together 11 times. So 10 to the power of 1 times 10 to the power of 10 is 10 to the power of 11. And that is in standard form. Okay, another one here. So I've got 2 times 7 times the numbers together. So 2 times 10 to the power of 8 times 7 times 10 to the power of minus 5. So I've got 2 times 7, which is 14. So times the numbers together and times the 10s together. 10 to the power of 8 times 10 to the power of 5. When we multiply, we add the powers. 8 plus minus 5, or 8 minus 5, that's 3. Again, it's not in standard form. 14 isn't between 1 and 10. So I'll change 14 into 1.4. 1.4 times 10 times 10 to the power of 3, and 10 to the power of 1 times 10 to the power of 3 is 10 to the power of 4. Okay, 2 questions for you to try. Pause the video, give them a go, and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so we're going to multiply the numbers together. So multiply the 6 and the 7. 6 times 7 is 42. And we'll multiply the 10s together. 10 to the power of 3 times 10 to the power of 8 is 10 to the power of 3 plus 8, which is 11. It is not in standard form. I've got 42, which isn't between 1 and 10. So I'll change that to 4.2 times 10 and that's times 10 to the power of 11. 10 times 10 to the power of 1 times 10 to the power of 11 is 10 to the power of 12. And the second one, 5 times 8 is 40. 10 to the power of negative 4 times 10 to the power of 8. Negative 4 plus 8 is 4. Again, it's not in standard form, so I'm going to change 40 into 4 times 10. So I've got 4 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is 4 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay, now dividing numbers in standard form. So the same as multiplying, what we can do here, we can treat it the same as if it was the indices question, 8x to the power of 9 divided by 2x to the power of 6. So we can divide the two numbers and then divide the indices, so the things with the same base, and when we divide, we take away the powers. So this will be 8 divided by 2 is 4, and x to the power of 9 divided by x to the power of 6. 9 take away 6 is 3, so that's 4x to the power of 3. So it's the same thing with my standard form. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And for my tens, 10 to the power of 9 divided by 10 to the power of 6. 9 take away 6 is 3, which gives me 4 times 10 to the power of 3. That is in standard form. 4 is between 1 and 10, so I don't have to do anything to it. For the next one, I'm going to use a calculator. So we've got 8.575 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 2.45 times 10 to the power of negative 4. So if I grab the calculator, so there's ways we can write this in the calculator. So we can use our fraction button, and we can write 8.575. Now there is a standard form button down here, which it's better to use. So if I click that, it comes up with times 10, and then we just write the power. So that's 9 in this case. And we can write 2.45 on the bottom times 10, and we write the power, which is negative 4. And there we go, we've been given our answer already in standard form by the calculator. So when we have a really big number or a small number, the calculator automatically gives us the answer in standard form. So we've got 3.5 times 10 to the power of 13. Let me just grab that calculator again, and I want to show you what you can't do. So for a division question, if you're not using the standard form button, so if I wrote this top one in, 8 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 2 times 10 to the power of 6. If I wrote 8 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 2 times 10 to the power of 6. If I wrote it in the calculator like that, I would get the wrong answer. The calculator is going to do 8 times 10 to the power of 9. It's going to work out what that is. Then it's going to divide it by 2. Then it's going to multiply that answer by 10 to the power of 6. So if you're not using the standard form button, you would have had to write these numbers in brackets to get the right answer. So if you write them in brackets, you get 4,000, which is the same as 4 times 10 to the power of 3. If you didn't write them in brackets, you get 4 times 10 to the power of 15, because the calculator is just going to do this in order and it's going to get it wrong. However, if you did use the standard form button and wrote 8 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 2 times 10 to the power of 6, you would get the correct answer, because it keeps 8 times 10 to the power of 9 as one number and 2 times 10 to the power of 6 as another number. And I want to show you one more thing on the calculator. So if I just go back to writing standard form as ordinary numbers. So if you've got a calculator available to you, sometimes the calculator will give you the correct answer. So for 3.2 times 10 to the power of 3, 3.2 times 10 to the power of 3, you can just type it in the calculator and it will convert it to an ordinary number for you. Let's try 9.6 times 10 to the power of minus 6. So that one it won't do, it only wants to give you the number in standard form. But in that case, if you wrote 0.0000096, it will convert that from an ordinary number into standard form for you. Okay, let's move on. So there's 2 questions for you to try here on dividing numbers in standard form. Give them a go and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so the first one, we've got 6.3 times 10 to the power of 7 divided by 2.1 times 10 to the power of 3. So we divide our 2 numbers in front. 6.3 divided by 2.1. How many 2.1s going to 6.3? That's 3. And 10 to the power of 7 divided by 10 to the power of 3. So 7 take away 3 is 4. So that's 3 times 10 to the power of 4. And the second one, 1.3 times 10 to the power of negative 3 divided by 5.2 times 10 to the power of negative 6. So I'm going to do it without a calculator. So 1.3 divided by 5.2, that is, well, it's 1/4 or 0.25. And 10 to the power of negative 3 divided by 10 to the power of negative 6. So we're dividing, so we're taking away the powers. So it's negative 3, take away negative 6. When we take away a negative, that's the same as adding. So it's negative 3 plus 6, which is 3. So 0.25 times 10 to the power of 3. Is it in standard form? It's not, because standard form has got to be a number between 1 and 10. So here I've got 0.25 times 10 times 10 times 10. If I steal one of these 10s, so take off one of the 10s, so change 10 to the power of 3 into 10 times 10 squared, and do 0.25 times 10 to give me 2.5 times 10 squared. So if you did type it into the calculator, it would have given you an answer of 250, and you would have had to convert that back into standard form. Okay, to finish off, I've got 6 questions here. Pause the video, give them a go, and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, so question 1, write in standard form. So I've got 5.4 million, and I need a number between 1 and 10. So that's going to be 5.4. And how many times do I multiply 5.4 by 10 to get this number? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. For the second one, I've got 0.00054. I'm going to write it in standard form again. So the number between 1 and 10 is going to be 5.4. And it's times 10. This time I'm going to divide 5.4 by 10. It's going to be a negative power. And how many times? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5.4 times 10 to the power of negative 4. Question 3. Write as an ordinary number 6.7 times 10 to the power of negative 4. So 6.7 divided by 10 4 times will give me 0.000, so 4 zeros in total, and then a 6 and a 7. And I can check that. If I've got 6.7 divided by 10 once, twice, 3, 4 times. Question 4. Work out 4.8 times 10 to the power of 6 plus 3 times 10 to the power of 5. So I'm going to write these as ordinary numbers first. So 4.8 times 10 to the 6, 4.8 times 10 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, plus 3 times 10 to the power of 5. So 3 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So I'm going to add these numbers up. I'm going to write them in columns. So 4.8 million plus 300,000. So the numbers are lined up. Add them together. So 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry over the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. So that gives me 5.1 million. If I wanted that in standard form, that's 5.1 times 10 to the power of 6. Question 5. Work out 3 times 10 to the power of 12 times 4 times 10 to the power of negative 5. So I multiply my numbers. 3 times 4 is 12. And my indices, so 10 to the power of 12 times 10 to the power of negative 5. 12 plus negative 5 is 7. So I've got 12 times 10 to the power of 7. That's not in standard form, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to change 12 into 1.2 times 10. So I've got 1.2 times 10 to the power of 7, which is 1.2 times 10 to the power of 8. And finally, question 6, we're dividing. So I've got 3 times 10 to the power of 9 divided by 4 times 10 to the power of 5. 3 divided by 4 is 3/4, or 0.75. And my powers, I've got 10 to the power of 9 divided by 10 to the power of 5. 9 take away 5 is 4. So that's 0.75 times 10 to the power of 4. That's not in standard form, because standard form is a number between 1 and 10. So I'm going to steal one of the 10s off of here. So 0.75 times 10 times 10 to the power of 3. And 0.75 times 10 is 7.5. So it's 7.5 times 10 to the power of 3.